Today, I will make a simple audio transistor amplifier that runs practically. Now I say make, but I don't just mean to connect the electronics parts to make the circuit following the circuit diagram someone else designed. Instead, I will illustrate transistor operation, design our own circuit, and build and run it. Whether you are a beginner or student of electronics, and this video series helps you understand the transistor and how to make your own original transistor amplifier. So please watch it to the end. These are the bipolar transistors I'm going to talk about. Some are large enough to be fitted with heat sink like this, and some are small like this. But all transistors have three terminals: base, emitter, and collector. In schematics, we use the following symbols. There are two types of transistors: NPN transistors and PNP transistors. The schematic symbols are slightly different from each other. In this video, I will explain and build an amplifier using NPN transistors. Now, I'm gonna build an audio amplifier circuit with transistor. Before doing so, it is necessary to understand the basics of a transistor amplifier circuit. Some electronics textbooks explain amplifier circuit using schematics like the following. They have used such circuits to explain a transistor amplifier for decades when I started studying it. Even now, I can remember that it was so hard for me to understand them. In this diagram, it looks like a small signal comes into the base of the transistor and an amplified signal comes out from the collector. But there is also a resistor attached to the collector. And I wondered where the power source was. Unfortunately, I couldn't get how it would amplify the signal. Understanding this basic transistor circuit operation is very important to make an amplifier. But when I started learning about the transistors, it was the first big obstacle I couldn't easily overcome. Looking back on it now, the cause that made me not understand was some books and other sources often said that transistors have an amplifying function, which I found to be a barrier to my understanding. Strictly speaking, transistors don't have an amplifying ability. They only have the function of controlling a large current with a slight one. This transistor function is something like this. Left part of the picture framed in blue is a similar device corresponding to the right transistor amplifier circuit bound in green. Thinking of this similar device helps us to understand transistor operation. The transistor in the right figure corresponds to the orange device surrounded by the red dotted line in the left figure. This orange device has three connections point to connect the pipes, which correspond to the three terminals of the transistor. One of them connects to an air pump corresponding to a power source. The air pressure by the pump corresponds to the voltage from the battery. So, while the valve in the middle opens, air flows downward. The airflow in the narrow tube on the left side controls the valve, so the stronger the flow in the little pipe, the stronger the flow in the large pipe too. And the weaker the flow in the little pipe, the weaker the flow in the large pipe. When the small windmill on the left is gently stopped and turned out with little force, the large windmill on the right turns forcefully in proportion to the left flow. A strong output looks like an amplified wave of the input. Like this, a transistor is a device that can control a strong current with a weak current. Here is my recommendation. So, when considering a transistor amplifier circuit, it is better to regard the input as a controlling signal and think of the output signal as a controlled signal rather than an amplified signal. A transistor is a device that controls a strong current with a weak current. This thinking way helps us to understand transistor circuits. So far, what I have talked about is just an illustration or a model to help us understand. But I became understood how transistors work once I could visualize transistor operation in this way. It may be helpful for you to picture this kind of illustration to understand the invisible operation of the transistors. Okay, so let's summarize some important points for designing transistor circuit before considering an actual circuit. In this video series, I will summarize the essential way to use transistors as rules. Since this is the first of them, I refer to it as rule number 1. The first rule concerns the direction of the current. The current through the transistor should flow in the direction of the arrow on the schematic symbol of the transistor. If this connection is wrong, the transistor doesn't work. Remember that in NPN transistor, current flows from the base toward the emitter and from the collector toward the emitter. In other words, current flowing into the base and collector will go out from the emitter. Also, as for the magnitude of the voltage, we have to use a higher voltage between the collector and emitter than between the base and emitter. Please keep this in mind as well. Okay, let's build a circuit with the consideration we have considered. I am going to draw a schematic now. Still, for you to see the path I followed to be able to create a working circuit, I try to imagine what kind of circuit I would have thought if I were a complete beginner child who had watched this video content up to this point and draw that. First, connect the input signal terminal to the base, where the small current controls the large current flows. Next, connect the other input signal terminal to the emitter. The voltage level at these points will be 0 volt, ground level, the reference voltage for the entire circuit. Then connect the speaker to the collector, where a large current controlled by the input signal flows. Then, to make this current flow from the collector side to the emitter side, connect the power supply so that the collector side is positive and the emitter side is negative. Finally, draw a ground symbol to know where the 0-volt reference voltage is. Perhaps when I were a child as a complete beginner, I would have designed the circuit like this. Although we have decided on the circuit connection so far, we still need to determine which transistor to use and how high the voltage is the power supply. For this, too, I imagined what I would have done with this when I still did not know enough about electronic circuits. And I included the transistor's part number and the power supply's voltage in the schematic. First, regarding the transistor to use, I thought that if I were a child, I could only do a search on the internet. So, I searched for audio transistor on the internet. I found a website that describes Toshiba's TTC5200. Since the website listed this transistor among the transistors suitable for the audio power amplifier, so I decided to use the TTC5200. And I determined supply voltage to 5 volt. It is because I searched the internet for TTC5200 and found the datasheet, which is the instruction manual for the transistor. I found the statement like VCE equal 5 volt at the side of the graph of the DC current gain and collector current. So I determined the supply voltage to 5 volt, thinking the voltage used to create the graph would not be a problem. Here is an image I had in my mind when I thought of this circuit. This is the image of the imaginary device that looks like the transistor circuit. The two green connecting points on the left side are the input terminals for the audio signal, and the left side of the red dotted line is the circuit of the external audio equipment. The signal coming in from there goes into the base of the transistor. As the input signal gets louder and quieter, the bulb opens or closes, causing the same signal strength change in the large current coming from the power supply at the collector. And that large signal current flows to the speaker, making the sound emitted from the speaker. If I were a child, I would have thought of circuits like this. Okay, will this circuit really work? Let's check it. This time, I will build the circuit on the breadboard. I soldered pin headers to the parts, which I can connect to the breadboard. The pin assignments of the 3 transistor pins are generally the same for each component package, but check the datasheet to be sure. For TTC5200, with the heatsink placed downwards from left to right, are base, collector, and emitter. Using jumper wires, I connected components. The speaker is typical 10-watt speaker with 8 ohms. Okay, let's check if we can listen to sound with an amplifier circuit I just made. I'm going to connect the computer to the amplifier with a USB audio interface and see if it produces sound. And I will use 5-volt AC adapter as a power supply. Now, let's check the amplifier operation. I will try to play music with it. No sound. Now, let me listen to it with earphone to make sure that the sound comes from USB audio interface. I can hear the music clearly. There is no problem. So I'm gonna connect my amplifier again for the double check. But still no sound. I can hear a faint noise, but I can't hear the music. The circuit I have made does not produce sound because it does not correspond to specific characteristics of the junction of the two types of semiconductors, P and N, that the transistor has. This situation is like trying to rock a boat with insufficient water depth. Just by adding one more component to this circuit, this amplifier circuit will run well. In my next video, I will add this component and listen to the amplifier's sound. Please subscribe to my channel and watch my video if you like. Thank you. Okay, let's add the bias resistor. Woohoo! I got the sound right.